Hey, you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Monday to you. You know what we do around here. Go ahead and do me a favor and like this video in advance. If you see some ads, you know what to do. Hey, notification gang. Hey, Noti gang. If you don't have that little bell on, go ahead and hit that bell so you will get my videos when I do upload them. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this movie, the Wendy Williams movie over the weekend. First things first, I want to congratulate Sierra Payton. I think she did a phenomenal job. I wasn't sure of what to expect when I saw that clip floating around of her in the Statue of Liberty costume. I wasn't sure what we were going to get because that was just a little overacted for me. But as far as her playing Wendy Williams, I think she did it. I think she did that. I think she did a great job. I think she got the New Jersey accent. I think she just did her thing when it came to that. Now, all of that being said, what did you guys think about the Lifetime movie itself, the Wendy Williams Lifetime movie? I'm going to tell you that I didn't particularly think it was great. I guess I've been spoiled when it comes to biopics, and a lot of us have been spoiled when it comes to biopics. And I'm not talking about the ones that they put at the movies and at the show and stuff like that. I'm just saying, when you think about biopics, just ones that have been made for TV, right? We've had a few that have been made for TV, right? I think of The New Edition, who had 3 parts, right? Really, really good, well done, put together. You have Bobby Brown, the TLC, VH1 did TLC. I think that was really, really good. I think of Little Richard, which I don't ever think the Little Richard one with Leon went to, was at the movies, but it was done really, really well. Okay. Now, Wendy Williams has had an illustrious career. So I felt like it was too short. I felt like Wendy cut too many really, really good parts of her career out of this and really gave, in my opinion, Kevin Hunter way too much screen time. Like, I felt like she gave him way too much. Now, that is just how I feel about that. I think that if she was going to do that, then they should have at least made it 3 hours. I just feel like if you were going to do all of that, then you need to extend it and not make it 2 hours, because I felt like Wendy Williams, as much as she has done over her career, needed more than 2 hours. So let's go ahead and get into some of just like the recaps of all of this, right? Wendy, she the first part of the biopic explored her childhood, and it was sad to see that, how she was monitored so closely with her weight and how her parents pretty much fat shamed her, right? You expect people to be cruel outside of the home, but you don't necessarily expect it to come from inside. And her parents were, I think, mostly responsible for that, right? So we kind of see her breeze through that, and we see her go off, she went to school, which again, she breezed through so much. Like, it just kind of like, if you blink, you would have missed it. If you blink, you would have missed it. So we see her get into her career, and you can just see that Wendy is very, very determined. She's a go-getter. Like, she knows what she wants, right? She knew what she wanted, and she was going out there and getting it. Like, I think she said something like she never was without a job for more than, a week or two, which again, she was just so determined in her career. We see her start off, like she said, a little wet behind the ears, a little naive when she showed that part of her assault with Sherrick, the R&B singer from the 80s, the 90s, something like that. So we see all of that, right? We see her at the radio station. We kind of see her turn into the Wendy that we know, right? With the hot topics. We see all of that. And then I feel like it quickly shifts. No, let me get back. The part that was really interesting to me that I didn't know, right, was whole Eric B stuff. Now, we've heard about Wendy and her tryst. I already talked about Method Man, right? And Lil' Kim talked about how Wendy was slobbing on Biggie's knob, right? But, of course, none of that was in there. But we see that she was with Eric B. Okay, now Eric B don't never get no shot. We hear Rakim, but Eric B, girl, you let Eric B run up your credit, get all this stuff, right? We just run up your credit and you got pregnant by him. And I was just like, I didn't know. And that is actually really where I want to go with all of this. I felt like those are the stories that people honestly wanted to hear about, right? That was just interesting to me because I honestly didn't know it. I didn't follow Wendy Williams that much enough to know that she was screwing around with a Method Man and Eric, a Rakim. No, hell no, not Rakim. But then again, I said hell no, Method Man. But then again, there we go, right? So that was the kind of interesting stuff that I felt like she could have done a little bit more of. Honestly, I just feel like that would have been really, really interesting because Wendy had an illustrious, call it what you will, but she did have an illustrious radio career. I wanted to hear the Judge Mathis phone call. People were talking about Whitney Houston, but I'm like, hell, don't forget that Judge Mathis read Wendy her rights. Judge Mathis got in that ass. And if you don't believe me, if you ain't never heard it, please, you already on YouTube, go look it up. When I tell you Judge Mathis dragged Wendy, man, okay, so that's the kind of stuff. Like, I like the fact that she put in the whole thing where she was kind of alluding to the fact that Puffy was gay. I love the fact that she put the whole thing when Total came up there trying, wanted to beat her ass, right? But then, as I stated, I feel like she moves into that second hour is all about Kevin. It's pretty much about Kevin. And please don't get me wrong. I understand that he was a huge part of her life. He came into her life in like the mid-90s, right? And he was there. He was her protector. He managed her. He had a lot to do with what we're seeing right now in Wendy, which is not necessarily a good thing. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But we see her dedicate a lot of the movie to him. What was funny is when she found out that Kevin had the other woman, right? He had Sharina. And Wendy find out that, she get the PI. She's sneaking around, right? She get the PI. She found out that he got a house. She go over there. She glued the mailbox. Big whoop. And then she spray paints Kevin and Wendy Forever, or Kevin Loves Wendy, or some bullshit. And I'm just like, Wendy, if you over there, hell, you might as well go and hog, spray paint Backwoods Bitch or Skank or Slutty Hoe, Whore, Homewrecker, something. But I just thought that was hilarious. Like, girl, you went over there, you didn't bust out a window. You ain't, throw a pipe bomb. And I'm just trying to understand. But we see that relationship deteriorate and we see where it goes, right? Now, prior to that, we see that Wendy had several miscarriages. She had a stillborn, and that was really hard to watch. That was just really hard to watch. Now, I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you. When she kept losing the baby, my first thought, before we found out that her cervix was whatever it was going with the cervix, I kept saying, Wendy, I hope it ain't. Is this the drugs? Is she losing the baby because of the drugs? I kid you not. I kept thinking that it was the drugs. But Wendy, they kind of explained that it was her cervix and she needed to be on bed rest. And she was on bed rest with little Kevin. And she was able to, bring that, obviously that pregnancy all the way to term. Thank goodness, right? But I did think it was the drugs. I ain't going to sit here and pretend and lie to you. And so, the movie ends, and I just felt like I said, it was too short. It missed so much. She completely skipped over the first marriage. I mean, yeah, she shades it, but I feel like she should have added more of her career in it. I wouldn't have minded seeing like a little bit of the first marriage. I don't care if it was a blip on the radar. I just feel like it was too much dedicated to Kevin. And I just kept thinking to myself, Wendy, he don't care. I almost feel like she's doing this to get at him, right? And I just like, girl, he don't care. He got his $10 million divorce settlement and he good. So Wendy, whatever you trying to do, stop. I just felt like she could have did way more into her career. Now, the after documentary was far better than the movie. It was far better than the movie, and I don't know if you guys watched that, but I stuck around and I watched that, and I was actually kind of heartbroken for Wendy because she barely got through that, and all I could think to myself is, this woman is so broken. The way she was crying, you can just tell that she is clearly still suffering from what he did to her. I imagine that Wendy put on a brave face for the camera every single day. She get out there, how you doing? And when she leave and she go back in her dressing room, she just literally just fall apart crying. That's how I picture Wendy after I saw that. Wendy could barely get through it. But it was actually the more interesting of the two, between the movie and her just talking about her life. I found that more intriguing than that damn movie, to be honest with you, because we learned so much from just listening to her talk. And what I gathered from it was that the way she saw Kevin was that he was, I mean, she loved that thug love. Let's just be clear. A lot of girls like bad boys. She saw that thug passion in Kevin. He protected her, right? He protected her. He felt like it was, he felt like a safe space to her, right? This big burly guy. Also, you know, Wendy had a flip mouth. So it was like, if anybody gonna see after her and protect her, it was gonna be Kevin. And she fell for that, right? But he was doing her wrong from pretty much the get-go. But she stuck around because, again, he protected her, but he didn't protect her heart. He protected her, but didn't protect her heart. And so I felt like a lot of this, honestly, as I sat and I watched Wendy, and I hoped that this was therapeutic for her as much as she was crying and bawling about it. I really hoped that it was able to cleanse her soul, to give her something so that she can just get it out and let it go, right? To just be able to speak it out loud, because obviously, as you can see, she has known a long time about Sharina. But I felt like a lot of this was to kind of show Kevin what he did to her. That is how I looked at that. That's why I felt like she was real light on the career and more heavy on Kevin in the movie and even in the documentary. And again, I get it because he was a huge part of her life. We can't ignore the fact that they were together as long as they were together. But she shorted herself as far as her career by making it more about Kevin and what he did to her, because she still wants him to pay. And I get it. I understand, but Wendy, you giving him too much energy at this point. She gave him a whole lot of energy. And I like the fact that she said, I believe it's in the documentary, or maybe it was in the movie. I can't remember, but along the lines of, well, you know, I can't really blame her. I can't blame Sharina as much because he the one that's married to me type of. She kind of alluded to that. Like, well, he the one that was supposed to be married to me and loyal to me. But even in the same breath, Wendy still was doing her rounds. I heard her talking to Andy Cohen, and she's like, oh, you know, he was with the bottle girl, the less than smart bottle girl, and you know, still shading Sharina. And I'm just like, well, Wendy, after watching that movie and watching you talk about the fact that this man was with her damn near 15 years, right? Who's the less than smart one at this point? I mean, listen, Sharina can be blamed for a whole lot of shit because she knowingly messed with a married man. But when it comes to less than smart, I can't really necessarily say that about her, because this girl been finessing you. You've been paying her bills. She been living in a house down the street from you for a long ass time. So I don't necessarily look at Sharina as less than smart, because Sharina been paid, right? Kevin walked away with a nice, comfortable bag, and she told Andy Cohen, Kevin's going to regret the day he met her, and because, like, again, she's still hurting from that. She's still feeling it, and I felt like Wendy gave him way too much screen time. I'm sorry, but I just feel like she shorted her career to make sure Kevin saw what he did to her, as if he don't know. And she shorted herself. Wendy shorted herself because, again, as I feel about biopics, Wendy could have gotten a lot more. I know Lifetime budget ain't like everybody else. I get that. But Wendy could have gave herself way more time. I just feel like Wendy could have given herself they could have gave her another hour. They could have given Wendy a whole nother hour. She deserved it. She absolutely deserved it. Hell, if Salt and Pepper can get, I don't remember how long. So I thought Salt and Pepper was over 2 hours. But if Salt and Pepper can get more time, Wendy can, and maybe they didn't get, maybe they only got 2 hours. And it's not a competition here. I'm just saying I felt like she shorted her career to focus more on Kevin. And I feel like that was a mistake. I do. I feel like that was a mistake in the movie. The movie just didn't resonate with me as much as listening to her talk about her, just talk about her life and her career. Because I got way more out of, if Wendy hadn't sat down and talked after the show, I would have came away with like, you know what? That was whack. That just wasn't, that didn't give me what it was supposed to give me. But thank goodness I feel like she followed up with her actually speaking and talking about it, which I think redeemed the night. I honestly think it redeemed the night. But again, shout out to Sierra Payton for that job that she did. I think she did a great job. I think she did a phenomenal job as Wendy. I think Wendy got the wigs right. It wasn't a Tyler Perry type production, in my opinion. I think everybody looked decent. Total was funny. Like, Total coming up there looking like the Powerpuff Girl. I mean, it was just kind of funny to see that. But Wendy, man, you could have did so much more with your career. You had so much more you could have told. And I just wish that she wouldn't have skipped over things. She just really skipped over so much. She skipped over so much. Wendy has had even the drug stuff. I mean, yes, she showed it. Yes, we know. But again, a lot of this was just mainly about Kevin Hunter, and I just feel like Wendy did it because she wanted to just show him. She just wanted to throw it in his face, show it in his face, and I'm just like, girl, listen, he don't care. He do not care. They are down in Florida living decently, living comfortably, and if you're trying to hurt him, Wendy, he don't care. And all we got to see is that you spent way too much time trying to be with this man who, you know, for the most part, I remember when she was talking, she was like, well, he never hit me. As if it was a redeeming quality that he didn't beat her. He was an asshole and he was verbally abusive. You could see that. And I am willing to go on record and say, I doubt that he never did nothing. I mean, Wendy, but she was trying to redeem him like, yeah, well, he never beat me. He never hit me. I'm like, well, Wendy, that ain't the most redeeming quality for this dude that did everything else to you, though. It ain't the most redeeming quality at all. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and just touch base with you guys and review the movie. And let me know what you thought about it. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video, guys. Bye.